Hello, 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 and welcome to the Bridges and Beacons podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Myerson, and guilty as charged. I was having a great conversation, and my lovely guest, who I will introduce you to in a moment, was like, "Do you think we should be recording this?" I was like, "Yes, we should." I am welcoming to the show somebody who I am obsessed with. I told her we're besties on LinkedIn. I hope I didn't like overstep bounds, but her name is Christine Passo, and she is one of my favorite people because, like, let me tell you, at this point in the world, I am so disinterested in generic and everybody looking the same. And I know some of this is my human design. It's what's happening in the world. But Christine, I'm obsessed with you because I can always like trust one, you're gonna share a post that is speaking truth to bullshit, which I freaking love. There's gonna be a post and it's gonna have the most adorable shelties ever. Shout out to Chip, your newest guy.
Yay.
And I know the voice that's coming through is true and raw and real. And that is what I'm here for right now. So, Christine, first of all, welcome to the podcast. And yeah, how do you want to respond to that?
Well, first of all, like I'm thumping my heart with my hand because I adore you, number one. Number two, the very first time that we actually had a call. So separate from all the commenting on LinkedIn, which is where we met, right? It's where a lot of
Right.
people meet. But our call, we just took off running with like love and honesty and no, we're not in love. And we didn't even know each other, but there's a way to lead with love in that way because we are just being honest and we're being truthful. And I think when that happens, like there is an automatic connection because there's no barrier, like there is nothing dividing us being exactly who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what inspires me every day. And also the fact that I spent, nearly 5 decades pretending to be somebody that I wasn't, which is a
Mm-hmm.
very common story told by a lot of people, right? Especially women in their 50s in particular, but even more now, women in their 40s. Like we're coming into our own earlier because we're standing on the shoulders of other women who are saying, you get to be yourself. But,
Mm-hmm.
I equally am as obsessed with you and your truth and your desire to basically call bullshit as well
Mm-hmm.
and aspire to continue doing so. So that is what came to my mind. And I'm so grateful to be here. I know that we originally were scheduled to chat, I think like a month ago, and you were so gracious. So I'm so glad to be here. You've carved out time for me during your spring break, which I love because you love doing this. Like
I
you're
do.
taking your time off to do what you love. And see,
Mm-hmm.
another reason, there's the word love. For now, I'm done.
Yay. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that. I had like these visions. Like, did you did you watch Little House on the Prairie as a kid?
Oh my God, I wanted to live there. Yes, I watched it all
Same.
the time. I thought it
Read the
was the coolest
books,
thing.
watched the
Yep.
show. Like
Mhm.
I was obsessed with Laura Ingalls Wilder. And like I just had this like vision of us like arm in arm, like with the music, like do 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 do. And we're like skipping through the meadow, like, yay, I found some friends. I love those positive vibes. And I think, you know, LinkedIn can feel a little bit stiff
Mhm.
in the on the onset, like when you first arrive there, because it's people really use it more for like traditional business and networking and connecting. And I was part of LinkedIn, and I guess I don't even know, maybe 2 years I've been like really sticking with LinkedIn versus some of the other social media platforms just because I was like I can't do Facebook anymore. Like it
Yeah.
just and listen, if you're listening and you're like, but I love Facebook, that's great. And it's not that I'm saying everybody should leave Facebook, nobody should do Instagram or TikTok. I'm just saying where I felt most at ease and had the easiest time is with LinkedIn most recently. And I love Substack too, although that's a whole other story because they had a really good thing going and they sort of decided to switch and be more like everybody else. And I feel like it's kind of like, but that's just me.
You know what? I'll tell you something, and I just realized it this moment as you were talking about LinkedIn and Facebook, that for quite a while I've been saying I'm so over LinkedIn. Honestly, I'm over all the social media stuff. I feel like so much of it is empty and it leaves us feeling empty.
Mm.
Um, and I was never in it for the reactions, right? I was never like, oh, look, I went viral. I never want to go viral. I don't. I really don't. And I mean that honestly. People may say that and they go viral and like, look at me, look at my post. That will never be me. But as you were just describing why you've chosen to spend more time on LinkedIn versus other channels, it's made me realize I thought that I really enjoyed Instagram. And I think I enjoy perusing Instagram. There's a lot of humor, right? And there's a lot of interesting posts about dogs, which of course we've already, kind of talked about how much I love dogs. And, but as you said that, I realized that where I end up having the most interesting conversations via comments, not even necessarily in my DMs. It's like people don't, maybe this is just me. There's not as much time for DMs anymore. It's like if you want a DM, you just get on a call, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just get on a
Mm-hmm.
call. But the more intelligent, thought provoking, I see you, I understand you, I get that on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I used to think it was Instagram, but it's not. It's LinkedIn. And I really, over the years, have evolved on LinkedIn, where I used to say, I don't care, I'm going to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of peeling back the layers, as they say,
Mm-hmm.
to really get down to that side of us that we're not afraid of anymore. That we really are not afraid because we don't realize that we're performing all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, a part of me, honestly, right here in this interview is performing. So I love this shirt, right? I love it. But to me, it's like my dress up shirt. So I'm a very casual person. I like to be comfortable. I work from home. I spend all day with three dogs who at any time will jump on me and have dirty paws. It's like, I don't, and it's just not my thing. So I dressed. I don't even know if this is going to be on video, but I also facilitated a Shareapy get together earlier. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just dress the part for what I have going on today. But like right now, I'm kind of performing in a shirt I don't usually wear, but I do love it, by the way. Isn't it fun?
I I love it.
I
Well, you've
mean,
got trees and mountains and nature, which like to me, actually it's super cute.
yep,
I really
I love
like
it.
it. I
I
like
love
it.
it.
And I do like to get dressed up. Like I mean, we were talking about that like the polishing, the over polishing of who we are and what we do. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think there's a fine line between like curated and thoughtful and like really massively overdoing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I still, whether or not it's like conditioning or just me, like I like showing up a little more professional. I'm going to put lipstick on, which I wouldn't necessarily wear every day. Listen, when I'm running around with little preschoolers and, rolling on the mats, like I'm not wearing a red lip. Like it's just not, everything has to be like wash and wear, comfortable, easy to get up and down off the floor. Like that's like, the test of apparel if I'm doing my day job. But like I like clothes. I've always been into getting dressed up. And so like for me it's also there's an element of fun to that. Um it's interesting too because when I look at human design, one of the centers is called the G center, and it's your center for direction and like your sense of self. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, if it's defined for people, like they're pretty much who they are, no matter where they go, no matter what they do, they're always themselves. Like, it's very clear. whereas mine is open, so it's ever evolving. So I'm like, which version of Kelly is showing up today?
Ah,
And so
yeah.
like I'm like, well, maybe I feel like it's going to be a red lip, and maybe I'm going to wear a yellow shirt, and it's like I say, like, if somebody invites me to go to an exercise class, like, the question is, what are we wearing? Like, is what is the outfit that I should be wearing for said exercise class? And some people are like, Kel, we're just working out, like, whatever. I'm like, no, it's not whatever for me. But
Oh my God. And you know what my response is? Do I have to go?
do I have to go? I don't want to. Now, and we're not really up for things we don't want to do anymore
No.
at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if some of that is like I like to show up for the vibe. So like I'm not a light packer because wherever I'm going, I'm like, I don't know what the vibes are. I dress by the vibes, not by like what I want to wear on me. So I got to figure that out first.
That's so interesting. I mean, a part of my brain was like, she's going to say, I dress for what could come up, like the weather or an event or something like that. But I love that you said you dress for the vibe or you pack for the vibe, which
Mm-hmm.
is, well, people are dressed more casually. Let me go change. Or people are dressed more 20s theme based. Let me go change. Like I would never think that. And that's why
Yeah.
I love people so much. It's like a part of me could deal without people because I'm such a quiet introvert. Like you would never know that from me guesting on podcasts or certain things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, your energy, you're so alive, you're so vibrant, like you seem so great to be around. And I do. I mean, I do have those parts of myself, but overall, like I'm the one that likes my quiet mornings, my creative mornings, and Friday nights we like to be home. We get Neapolitan pizza with this arugula salad from our favorite pizza place down here in Norfolk, and I got a doggy on my lap. I'm like, do we have to talk? And my wife is like, no, I mean, she's been talking all week and it's like my dream.
It is.
But then there's that side of me that is at that point now at age 55 that it's like I held in everything for so long. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
speaking now for quite some time. I've been sharing my thoughts and feelings, but it's important to just keep doing it. If somebody listening is just now finding their voice, keep keep speaking. Because even if you think people don't care, because the thing is most people won't tell you that what you say means something to them because it's quite possible they won't even realize it for a day or
Mm-hmm.
a week,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they'll be like, I have no way to contact this person. But, there is that side of us, whether we're an introvert or an extrovert, that wants to share something. And the more we share it, the more free we become
Yeah.
from anything that we've gone through in life, continue to go through, and expect to go through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that so much. Yeah. I think what I also appreciate about you is that you talk openly about mental health and mental health challenges. And I think too, there can be the very polished version of that. And I feel like yours isn't. And that is so important. It is
Yeah.
so important because people out there are going to relate to the raw information,
Yeah.
are going to see themselves and say, well, I felt like that some days, versus like somebody who is, and like, listen, we're not calling anybody out. We're not judging somebody who's like, there's music and they're pointing to words on a screen about how they feel versus you on a walk in nature, like just speaking from your heart about how hard some days can be,
Yeah.
you know?
It's I'll tell you the things that actually make me angry, and they make me angry because I feel like they send the wrong message to the people that really need to hear it. And then it confuses them or they feel like they're not capable, they can't achieve it, they're failures. So even an antidepressant commercial it starts somebody out as looking really sad, right? They're in the dark, maybe they're in bed, they're in blah clothes, they don't have any color. And then they start taking the antidepressant, and all of a sudden, they're back to life. It's like you can live again. Now, I realize these are commercials, and most commercials are not telling the whole truth, but no matter what, you're watching a Coke commercial. They're not telling you how much sugar is in that soda and how very non-quenching it is. You take a sip of soda and it's like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. But I don't appreciate because, all right, let's back up. Remember last year, I experienced very deep depression. I went into a very deep depression. I, throughout my life, have experienced deep depression. I attempted to take my life when I was in my 20s. I'm saying this kind of like flatline right now because I've spoken about it before. And I don't have emotions about that back then. What I have emotions about is how that depression comes and goes.
Yeah.
And just because I got treated back in my 20s and I got help, it doesn't mean you just rise above it. You know, some of us never experience depression. I mean, there are some people out there that never experience depression. And I think that's wonderful. It's like I get migraines. I have a friend who does not get headaches. Like, I don't even know what it would be like to live a life where I didn't every day or every other day have a headache that potentially turns into a migraine.
Mm.
But depression comes and goes. It does not just go away. And it's, you know, is it part of our chemistry? I don't know. You know, there's all these scientific, there's been so much research, and really nothing is 100% proven
Mm-mm.
other than, you know, really we can't just take ourselves out of it. Once you get in that black hole, some people call it the dark hole, who you are and what you're thinking is not reality because you are now out of line with any true thought process you've ever had in your life. And there's nothing to compare it to. But in that depression that I experienced last year, it kind of really caught me off guard because you know, for 10, 15 years, I've been able to catch myself and be like, okay, well, I need to do this. But I was like, I need help. I need to start with an antidepressant.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people saying, that's great. I hope you feel better soon. Things are looking up. And I'm like, for who? I'm like, most people don't even realize that it could take 3 months just to learn if the low dose is appropriate. And then you adjust the dose, right? You might go up and it's like, no, this isn't for me. And then potentially you wean off and then start another one. So you're looking at a minimum 5 to 6 months of learning whether or not that antidepressant works for you and then switching to another one, which is what I needed to do. I needed to switch. And since I switched, I've been on Cymbalta and I'm actually pretty happy with it, but I still have some rough days. And sometimes there's a reason for it and sometimes there isn't. But for the people who, you know, in their dress suits, and there are women that are in their business suits and they, you know, post, oh, I experienced depression 3 years ago. I'm so much better now. I got over it. It's like there's still that stigma in us that people feel like they have to say, but I'm good now.
Right.
I got over it. Like I'm
Right.
strong again. I'm capable. I should not be marked with mental health condition. But
Mm-hmm.
the stigma remains the stigma because women like that or men like that keep buying into it and they don't realize they're buying into it. Like I even bought into it, Kelly. I was telling somebody, I'm like, I don't believe in stigmas anymore. Like F that. I don't have time for that. And I said, you know, and I'm on a low dose antidepressant. And he said, you just stigmatized yourself. He said, why did you have to say a low dose? Does
Mm-hmm.
it matter? And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. I was trying to say, well, I'm not that effed up,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Just a little
Like
bit.
don't put the stamp on me, but we do this
Yeah.
and we actually discredit ourselves because I deserve to tell the truth about how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, because
Yeah.
other people deserve to hear the truth about what they may experience their whole lives for a temporary season. I don't know why I just said season. I never say season. I'm not one of those people. It's just life. It's not a season, it's life. Things come and go. Seasons happen 4 times a year: winter, spring, summer, and fall. That's different. Life is life, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be easy, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be complicated, and it's going to be full of love, and it's going to be full of anger. It's going to be all of it. And the more we embrace that, I think we can be truthful about what we feel in life, and we can allow and accept others to be truthful as well.
Yeah, I think that's so, so important. And you're right. I think the stigma is just very pervasive. It's insidious. It's really hooked in so many places. It's in our lexicon. It's in the posts that people make, or and the idea that like we don't want to be associated with the really, mentally ill people.
Right,
It's just I'm working on my mental health. I don't have a mental illness.
right.
And listen, I'm an occupational therapist, so like we're coming out of mental health as like really where we started our work. And probably even more than I do about the 80s and 90s and deinstitutionalization and the rhetoric out there that really dehumanizes people who have suffered, who have been maltreated. Um, and that stigma is kind of a way of putting us at an arm's length from people and saying, I'm the acceptable type of mental illness person,
Yep.
like you can invite me to a dinner party, I'm not gross. But I think it's a huge piece. And I see that working with children with special needs and how like some of them receive a lot more acceptance than others,
Yep.
and it's hard because I'm so close to it that like people are like, oh, I don't know how you do that work. Like, don't you feel sad every day? I'm like, are you kidding me? These kids are great. They're so much fun. They make me laugh. Like I'm never bored. I'm at work. Like you never know what's going to happen. They'll surprise you. But they're just kids,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
And I think the more we talk about it, like you're just a human being having a very human experience. And there's no stigma in that.
No.
I mean, we can applaud you because you asked for help. And I think that's like the moment to celebrate because so many of us dig in. I think especially women, I can speak to the female experience, like really dig in and like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to white knuckle it and I'm going to get through. And we would never like, say to somebody who's an alcoholic, just don't drink, like keep your hands away.
Yeah.
So I think where I was going with that is I think we have so much work to do. And I think we have
We
so much
do.
work with just like abandoning all of these labels and ways of categorizing people that makes us feel more comfortable. As a collective, it makes us more comfortable.
Yes.
Um, and I think it's time to be a little uncomfortable.
You know, I'll tell you, I had my own coaching business for a few years. I left marketing and sales and advertising, all the, kind of different things I was doing for 20 years. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I just bam, like, put my ship in the water and said, let's sail this thing. How do we do it? And I just didn't make enough money to sustain a career, an independent career as a coach, which I say that not out of failure, because literally everything I'm doing is taking me to the next step. I mean, that's just what life is about, isn't it? It's the same thing. we grow up, we start in elementary school, and then we go to middle school, and then we go to high school, and all these things. But for some reason, after we graduate, we think, oh, we're done with those steps. No, we're not. They happen to us in different ways. And we have to be the ones that determine, okay, that was that step. I need to keep going. Like I got that degree. I didn't really want it, but I got that degree. I earned it. And so now I'm going to see where it takes me. But, um, so I closed my business, and that was last year. It was after my depression. And in that, I was desperately seeking. I've never been like a group community kind of person. We're like, oh, there's going to be 10 people on the call, 10 plus, like, let's get together. I'm like, oh my God, no, no, I've been, private. I like one-on-one, which is still my preference, but I have learned the power in group community conversation. And I
Mhm.
did that because I found Shareapy. So it's not therapy and it's not sharing, it's Shareapy. And I was searching through a friend of mine on LinkedIn. She's connected to so many people who talk about grief, who talk about suicide prevention. They've lost people to suicide, like anything mental health and mental wellness. And so I found Shareapy, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So Shareapy is all based on peer support. It's a peer support community that offers online get-togethers. They're not called meetings because we have enough meetings in life, but they are virtual get-togethers where you just talk about what's real. And they aren't bitch sessions. We don't go in and
Mhm.
go, well, this is wrong with my life and this person does this. No, it's a different topic every time we get together, Kelly. And it honestly had been something I'd been searching for so long. It's, you and I, when we first met, we started talking, I said this earlier, about what's real, about what's honest. And nothing held us back because we knew there was trust. We didn't even have to, you know, work up to, I don't know if I can trust her. It just happened. And that's rare, right? Like
Mhm.
we don't fall into those types of things because instead we feel stigma. We're afraid. We've got, we're performing like all the things that we don't realize we're doing. Where in Shareapy, it's not like that. And I went to my first get together and I was like, well, I'll see how it is. I'm probably not going to say anything. Oh my God, I ended up divulging my depression, my struggles. I think I cried a little bit. And at the end, I was laughing. I was laughing because nobody tried to fix me. Nobody judged me.
Mhm.
There were no words, anything like that we normally hear. Like you might go to a family member who says, you say, I have depression. All right, well, let's get together a game plan. What are we going to do? What have you been doing? You need to get out for walks. You're not working out. You need to get to working out. I see you're not eating right. It's like, no, no, no. I don't need you to fix me. I need you to freaking validate me because most of the time that's all we need. We just need to be told, like, okay, I'm here with you. What
Mhm.
else?
Mhm.
And we don't do that. And so I just gravitated towards that instant love at Shareapy. And I ended up basically talking myself into a job with a company at the time that didn't have any money. He's like, I can't pay you. And I said, I don't care
Yeah.
because this is helping me, and helping other people is helping me.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
you find these things, and it's a community, but you find your people, right? You might go to a Tuesday get together. You're like, I love those people that go to Tuesday. I want to go to Tuesday. Or I love the Wednesday at noon. I'm going to go to Wednesday, whatever it might be. But having that outlet that we all are craving. I don't think I know a person on earth who isn't craving real deep connection,
Mhm.
but they don't know what they're missing until they find it.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, they're meeting their friends that they've known for decades, or they're getting together with their family, but it's all the same stuff and it's different. And we don't realize we hold back from those people. It's not because we don't love them, it's because they're in it with us.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. So, just finding community and finding that real and that honesty that you and we just keep talking about it. And it's how you live your life, Kelly. It's how you continue to live your life. And it's what you talk about on your show. And, when you're at school and you're working with kids, you can't be fake. They're gonna see right through you and they're gonna be like, whatever, so you've got that ingrained in you and it's really important.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing that. Yeah, I love that. And I think the piece that you said about being validated and having
Mm.
someone acknowledge what you said and hold space for you, and that to me is really critical right now, to have people who can hold space where there's full acceptance, there's full awareness of the present moment. And that's part of the work that I love to do, whether it's kids, my podcast, or coaching that I'm doing, but being able to hold space. And I've realized that that's one of my gifts, that
Mm.
I hold that space for people where they can be exactly as they are and felt safety and comfort and love. And like, I'm like, you know what? I can't stop telling people that I love them and that I gush all over people all the time. I'm like, that is just part of who I am and what I do.
Mm.
Um, and I'm just not going to stop doing that, because people think sometimes like it's an act. It's like no, no, no. The mask is like me when I'm just like, talking and being very polished, and like that is the act, the
Mm.
performance. But the me who is, fumbling over my words, so excited for people to come on the podcast, that's the real deal. That's who I am. And you know what? I'm okay with, like, some people are just going to be like, that's a little much for me. Yeah, I am. I'm too much for a lot of people. And
You
that's
know what
okay.
though? As you're saying this, Kelly, I'm just sitting here going, it's because you're full of acceptance. You're full of acceptance that it's not about judging for you. You're gonna hug whoever, you're gonna express that love because you're accepting them. Otherwise, you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, I'm not gonna hug them. Like they pissed me off about, 20 minutes ago, or they said that one thing 2 months ago. I don't know, I'm not into it. That judge frame of mind, oh, it can ruin so much. And so for you, just in what you were saying, you're able to give all that love and you want to give all that love because what you see is just beauty around you because that's acceptance. And that again is rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see people, and it's
Yeah.
part of what obsesses me with looking at human design, because I see people's design and I see the person in there. I see who they are, and some of the things that are creating the beauty about them. And it's what makes me love working with the kids that I work with, who you could say like they've got everything stacked up against them. I'm like, but they love science and the planets, and they're actually really funny, and they like these very specific. I have a kid who loves to listen to Simon and Garfunkel, like, and he's 6. and and you just, like, I have this ability to connect and see people, and I have full acceptance, and that's not a pretend thing. Plus, I cannot hold a grudge because I just can't remember. It's too much work to hold on to grudges, because like I am not really good at remembering stuff. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
be
And
like,
and you
oh,
know what? Like you could still judge because
sure.
it is probably the first thing we do.
Yeah.
We can't help it. We'd be like, wow, they're wearing that orange. I don't know if I would have chosen that color if I had their color skin. It's like we can't help it. But then, my guess is you stop yourself pretty quick and you're like, why do I care? It has
Mm,
nothing to do with me. What like who am I to even have those thoughts? But we can't help it. There's a lot of us that judge and I'm like, don't worry about it. Like we do it. That the key and the most important thing is to stop yourself and be like, what that wow, I'm really demeaning that person right now and who
mm,
am I to do that? But yeah, acceptance, I'll tell you, it is an underrated skill.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think I also have expert level curiosity. So
Mm.
it's hard to be judgmental when you're like, wait, I just need to know everything. It's like where you're like, oh, so we got this little guy, Chip. And then I'm like, wait, I need to know everything about Chip. How's he doing? What happened? Tell me the whole story. I love a story. Um, so it's what gets me excited. It also makes me for a very good podcast host, because I'm legitimately curious. Like, you really cannot, some people are like TMI. I'm like, forget TMI, like just tell me all
Yep.
the things.
Yes.
I absolutely need to know. And that also part of my human design. I have a 1-3, which is, the numbers. There's 6 numbers and they can be in various combinations. So mine's a 1-3. The one is like the deep dive researcher. So I'm super good at that. Plus
Oh, wow.
ADHD. So hyperfocus is the thing. So like I can like go down for like a week and like resurface and be like, I learned everything I need to know about this very specific thing. And the 3 is experimenting with things. So like actually taking and playing with it in the real world. And then I'm a very good teacher for that reason because I can figure out, all right, you don't need to go ABC. Like it's AHY done. Like make it
Yes.
simple. So I think for me, that natural curiosity that I have, that natural interest. I love people, and there are people I don't enjoy for sure.
Hmm.
But even with those people, I'm like, I'm just so curious, like what the heck is actually happening in
Yeah.
between those 2 ears? Like
Yeah.
what really happened to them? What kind of trauma have they experienced to be able to behave in such a way? And I think if you can get closer to understanding someone, you can get closer to accepting them, and you can be able to forgive on a bigger scale or just not let it eat away at you.
Yeah. You said a word that forgive.
Mm,
We have been taught to forgive and forget,
hmm
let it go. We're the only ones we're the ones that are holding on to what happened. And I, like, I don't think we have to forgive. All right. So I'm not suggesting other people live their lives the way that I am. This is based on the life that I have lived and the experiences that I've been through and what works for me. But what does forgiving do for behavior that I may consider, based on the person that I am, to be repulsive, to
hmm
be toxic, to be abusive? I'm
hmm
not going to forgive that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a decision about whether or not I involve myself with that anymore.
hmm
It's like, why would I forgive behavior that was terrible and
hmm
towards me, right?
hmm hmm
It's not that the behavior is towards other people. It has to be something that happened that was deliberately to me, or was, that somebody murdered somebody, or like something that is not even judgeable, but is clearly wrong.
hmm
That,
hmm
that's different. But I don't think we have to forgive. I think we have to do what feels right for
Yeah.
ourselves. And I don't forgive. It doesn't mean I hang on to it and I hold a grudge. I just say, you know what, you did that. And you're not going to do it again. And I don't forgive you. I'm going to move on. It's not going to bother me the rest of my life, but I'm not going to forget. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I think forgiving, and there's a lot of religious reasons, and I'm not here to argue any of those. Again, this is what I have done. But sometimes there are these old sayings that
hmm
we feel we're supposed to do, and because people lead with it, because they are old sayings. But sometimes it doesn't sit right, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, we get to choose, and it's
Yes.
okay. Somebody
Yeah.
says, well, you don't forgive me, and they say it in a oh gosh, I can't think of the word, in essentially in a negative way. It's like, no, I don't forgive you. And you can't, you can feel however you want about that, about me not forgiving you. But it's what I get to do. And now you
Yeah.
get to make a choice around that. But this is the beauty of us all being different people. And this is the beauty of why I find people so fascinating is that we get to make these choices on our own. And it's
Yep.
not for me to judge whether or not somebody else forgives or doesn't forgive, or forgets or doesn't forget. I get to make those choices for myself, and nobody's going to talk me out of it.
Totally. I fully appreciate that, and I tend to agree with you. I think, and you brought up religion, which I think is a piece of the puzzle. There are a lot of dogmas that, want you to seek forgiveness, get like permission from whatever God you believe in. to like, forgive you for your mistakes. I don't know. Like, and listen, I'm not here to tell anybody, like, if that works for you, go for it. I just find it doesn't work for me. I was like, I don't know, probably an 8 or 9 year old kid going to church, going to the Catholic church, ironically, right up the street from where I live now. But, um, and I really wanted to be an altar server. I don't know if you're familiar with the Catholic Church, but like in the 80s, like only boys could be altar servers.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my mom, I want to be an altar server. And she's like, well, you can't because you're a girl. And I was like, I feel like there is nothing about me being a girl that has any bearing on me being able to like bring stuff up to the altar.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, that's the rules. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense though.
Yeah.
Like,
Status
so
quo questioner. I love it.
I was like, that doesn't make any sense, And so and eventually, like, I stopped participating because I just couldn't handle the reality of the emptiness of it. And like, I just was like, I don't, is that my relationship with God, universe, energy, light source, whatever you like to call it? I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I need to go talk to an old man about like I don't know, talking back to my parents and get forgiveness from him through God. I was like, does anybody not see that this is a little strange? you
Yeah.
know? And then at the same time, like you can't participate because you're a girl, like condemning me. Like, oh, and your friends aren't accepted because they're not straight. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. Like, how does that have any bearing on? And so like I just couldn't deal with the BS anymore. And I was
You
like,
know,
I can't do it anymore.
what you just said, Kelly, is what our country is going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't, the quote unquote, I can't deal with it anymore. And it doesn't mean we don't care. Like, it
Mm-mm.
didn't mean you didn't care.
Mm-mm.
It didn't mean you didn't still want what you wanted. But you were like, I'm being essentially the doors being closed in my face everywhere I go. So, like, this is not the place that I'm going to try to create change, right? Like,
No.
naming, it's like recognize your surroundings, right? Like, read the room, essentially. And I think a lot of people, including myself, have read the room in our country, and we are making decisions around that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just not even hunkering down. We're just letting time go by until we can do something about it again. And just what you said is more related to more things that happen in our life than that small portion of what you went through when you were young. Like, if you
Mm-hmm.
really think about that, and like, I encourage your listeners, like, really think about how often do we pull back. It doesn't mean we don't want to give it a try. It means that everything we see that potentially is in the way, it's like, I'm reading this room, and this room is giving me the middle finger. How, do I want to wrestle a professional wrestler who's been doing this for 15 years when I've never done it before? Okay, no, I need to go to a different room where I can have impact. So I don't know. That's my analogy. That's my thought process on what you said. And I love it. And actually, as this day goes on, I know I'm going to really be kind of chewing on it and letting that sink into how we are making decisions right now.
Yeah. Oh, love, love, love. I love how you kept that all together for me. And I think if we talk about right now, for me, it's about I I want to live a life of integrity
Mm,
and I'm not compromising. I also only have so much energy in this one body right now. And so I
mm,
can't rage against every machine. I just
right.
can't, even if I wanted to. But when I think about impact and I think about legacy and I think about how am I going to make a difference for
Hmm.
other people, I realize it's not going to be screaming at a brick wall, you know? It's
Right,
not going to be
right.
there. Where is it going to be? It's going to be in how I engage with people. It's going to be in my work. It's going to be with my family. It's going to be how I protect my own peace, how I support my own communities, and recognizing where there just needs to be a boundary, like you said. I think you said it so beautifully before about like, certain people, like, I don't have to forgive you. I don't have to forget, but it's not going to live in my space. It's just a boundary. And
Yeah.
I think that when we hear about boundaries, we hear about like telling people, like, well, this is my boundary and you can't do this and you can't. It's not. Your
Mm-mm.
boundaries are really your behavior,
Mm-hmm.
what you allow, what you're up for. So, like, there are people I'm like, ah, it's over. And I'm okay with that. And I'm moving
Mm-hmm.
on. And like the boundary is up. And I'm not going to go backwards and feel bad about that. I think a lot of the lexicon of like blood is thicker than water, um, there's so many that are just these old phrases that are meant to get us to
Mm-hmm.
conform and to be okay with people in some type of close proximity to us, an authority figure, a family member, be okay with them misbehaving
Mm-hmm.
because you're part of their family unit. I'm like, I'm just not going to stay in those places anymore. And it doesn't really matter to me at, nearly 50 if
Mm-hmm.
that's people I've known my entire life or not,
Yeah.
because I care that much about integrity and care about the people that I'm here to provide a better future for.
Yeah. There's a fine line between honoring people and allowing people to treat us poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are so many, honor your family. They're your family. They're the only ones that are going to be there with you until the end. First of all, that's not true. That's not true. Um, and I honor people that honor me. It's not a tit for tat though, Kelly. Like I used to live that way. I'd be like, well, why would I give to that person? They don't give anything to me. I don't live my life that way anymore. If I want to give, if I see goodness, if I see greatness, wonderful, kind, genuine from somebody, they're going to they're going to be receiving from me forever. And I don't ever need anything from them because it feels good to give to that kind of a person. But if somebody dismisses me, dismisses what's important to me, I just, it's not even that I don't have time for it. I'm just not interested. Um, I'm not going to let it marinate. I'm not going to do any of those things. And I'm not being cruel. I'm not putting up my hand, or I'm not saying you're rude or you're not interested in me. So you're done. We've grown so accustomed to this cancel culture, and, we're taking two words and applying it to something that is a lot more complex. And we deserve to honor ourselves by breaking down that complexity to
Mm-hmm.
understand
Mm-hmm.
that why are we wanting to step away? It's not about the other people, it's about who we are and what we want for our future.
Mm-hmm.
Other people are going to do things, are always going to do things. Other people are always going to do things. It's just we finally get to align with who we are. Like we finally look in the mirror and go, oh, hey, I see you. It's like from Castaway. I know you. When he rebuilds Wilson
Yep.
and he
Yep.
puts the blood on him, he's like, I know you. I know you. When we finally get to look in the mirror and say, God, I see you, we get to say, you know what, that person isn't for me anymore. And gosh, at that point, Kelly, like it's not even about boundaries. It's about honoring who we are and being okay with it. And that's a
Mm.
beautiful part of life when we get there. And it's a process. Like there ain't nothing easy about it. And we're constantly changing. But it really is, it's a blessing and a curse to be this aware, right? Like
Yeah.
you're very aware. It's a blessing and a curse because it's wonderful. Like you finally get to see and the world is so much brighter and it is incredibly beautiful. But then we see too much. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh my God. Then because then we feel it. We feel more than other people who don't see. And so that part is hard, but you know what? I'll take that any day. I'll take
Same.
that any day.
Yeah, I feel that absolutely. I think I would take that any day. And I think what it is learning to feel like in your own body, in your own nervous system, my peace is nobody else's responsibility. And I get to choose how much I let in, who I let in, and whether it's what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, and to understand like where it is that I can actually do something, what's in my control. And I can't control other people's emotions, I can't control other people's behaviors. I can, to some extent, control my own. I can recognize and, make better choices, more resourceful choices for myself. My favorite teacher that I work with, when she's helping our middle schoolers, work through social challenges and moments that they have, she teaches them, what are you going to do to make your situation? And she always pauses because it's a phrase she says all the time, better. What are you going to do to make your situation better? And I think
Yeah.
about that a lot. And I think those kinds of phrases are even better to get stuck in our heads. What am I going to do to make my situation better?
Yeah. Here, I'll give you a phrase. Actually, it's not even basically a full sentence. I mean, it is, but it's not. A new friend of mine, his name is Jeff Johnson. He's a co-founder of a company called Brighton. It's an AI app for mental wellness, like keeping track of your days. But anyway, he said, basically, ask yourself, am I going to be bitter or better?
Mm,
And there's such a realistic point of view about that. It's like if you're going to walk around stomping and being pissed and throwing your arms everywhere, you're bitter. Well, then you have to swallow that, right? Like you have to eat it for dinner and you got to tuck yourself into bed with the fact that you're feeling bitter. It's not about anybody else at that point. Or are you going to be better? How does that look? What is that going to mean in your life? What are you going to do? What decisions are you going to change to be better? Because at the end of the day, just like all these things you were saying about who you choose to let into your life, at the end of the day, it's our decision. It's
mm-hmm,
our life to live. And when we are destructive with our words and we're disrespectful with our words, we have to live with it. And
mm-hmm,
when we blame other people for it, that typically shows us that it's our fault,
mm-hmm,
right? When we
mm-hmm,
blame other people, we just take ownership and go, it's not for me. There's no blame, you know. So at the end of the day, it's about us, not in a selfish way, but in an empowering way.
mm-hmm.
And so, maybe this is a good way to wrap up, but like, how are we going to be? How are we going to feel? Bitter or better?
Mm-hmm. I do like that because I also think it's sort of like you're just throwing up two middle fingers, like, do whatever the fuck you want,
Yep.
but I'm gonna be great over here,
Yep.
and you can't take that away from me. You can't
Yep.
take my joy away from me. You can't, I don't allow you. It's being empowered and recognizing like we can't be victims of circumstance.
Mm-mm.
We can choose. And I mean, you're right. A bitter is a choice. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a moment, it's a day, it's a half a day, it's a few hours. Like
Mhm.
we all deserve to feel, and this is not your early 2000s toxic positivity we're talking about here. We're talking
Right.
about like better to me means like those boundaries. Better to me means like I'm going to give myself time to rest and be in peace and walk in the woods. Better means I'm going to turn off all the technology and have a face to face dinner with my family. Better means like you don't always have to show up for everything. Like that's
Yeah.
like a whole thing too. Like I don't know if it was you that posted about that, but but like making plans and canceling plans and like judging people
Yes.
for canceling plans. And people are like, oh, you can't do that. And I'm
Right.
like, actually, put the pearls down, Susan. Like, you actually can cancel whenever you want. This
Yeah,
is,
like, don't tell me what to do.
don't tell
It's
me what
my
to
own
do.
life. You don't want to cancel? Fine, don't cancel. But like, you know what? We don't all want to go all the time. So who
No,
cares?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking
Yeah.
matter. And like the way that that shows up for me in like real time is like if somebody cancels on me, I'm like, great, because there's probably a reason that they needed to, and B, there's something in it for me to gain. And I
Mm-hmm.
choose to look at it, it's going to be better. It's going to be better because the timing is going to be better for the two of us. It's going to be better because I get a little bit of free time I wasn't anticipating. And sometimes I need that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm not a new rule. I never annoyed with people if they cancel on me. And
Yeah.
two, I am giving myself full permission, like at any point in time with anything. Like if I don't want to do it, even if I committed to it, I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to be
Nope.
okay with that. Like
Yeah.
you get to decide at any moment that it's a no.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we can apply this to anything we want to apply it to. But like even though you've always said yes, even though you made plans, even though somebody was counting on you, like it's first of all, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Second of all, there could be somebody else who could do what you were going to do. And third of all, like for most of us, it's not a life or death situation.
No, no.
So,
I mean, and there may be disappointment, but that, I mean,
sure.
honestly, like that's life.
Yeah.
And if that person is a real friend, let's say it was a friend that canceled, um, and they keep canceling, they keep canceling, they keep canceling. Well, either A, something is going on with them, right? Or maybe they're not interested in your friendship anymore. So, like you said, there's always something you can learn or get out of it. And, things are happening around us, and again, when we make it about blame, we're missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
Stop judging, right? And again, I know it's hard to do. Stop judging, stop pointing fingers, and let things go. Because the truth is time takes us through a story, but when we fight it, we miss the whole damn thing. And that's when we hang on too long, right? And I've
Mm.
hung on too long to plenty of things in my life. I by far am one that's like, oh, I know. I like, oh no, I don't hang on too long. Oh God. I mean, I've hung on way too long to things, but that's part of learning. I mean, I don't know. You and I, Kelly, I swear, like I've already heard another episode about family relationships that we could record. I mean, there are so many things, but again, that's the truth and honesty in which you and I share. And I so appreciate you always offering that truth and not only accepting it for me but inspiring it,
Mm.
and that is very needed in our world. It's very needed.
I agree. I agree. Thank you so much. And I agree with you. I think this is the perfect punctuation on our conversation. But before we go, can you share with people how do they find you? Where can they find out more about Shareapy? Of course, we'll put everything in the show notes, but what would you like to share with the listener?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually have a few websites. We have a variety of landers because we have a few different memberships to Shareapy. And so, honestly, the best way to get what somebody is looking for isn't necessarily our website. Our website's a little bit limited. I'll be honest. We're working on getting that changed. But contact me on LinkedIn, or I'm ChristinePasso.com. I mean, not .com. I'm Christine Passo on LinkedIn, and my email at Shareapy is very easy, Christine@Shareapy.com. And so those are probably the best ways and easiest ways to get in touch with me. And I also am on Instagram, although like I said, and you pulled it out of me, I think I pay more attention on LinkedIn, and I post differently, more thought provoking, words on LinkedIn. So I just took that answer and I went around the park, and I then went around the block, and now I'm parking. So there we go.
Sometimes the parking spot doesn't emerge quickly for some of us. we end up taking a little bit of an extra journey around the block, and I appreciate that as a like, wait, let me just see if I could just figure eight through the neighborhood
Keep
first.
going.
My thoughts. I love that, and we'll definitely put that in the show notes. And I think if listener, you've made it to the end of our conversation and this has really resonated with you, I want you to do something for me. I want you to share this with someone in your community who really needs to hear this kind of a conversation, whether it's about feeling accepted, how to move forward, some tools that Christine has shared with us, including Shareapy. And you've got to go where you can plant yourself and grow and not feel ever stuck. You can uproot and start over at any point in time. There are no rules anymore, which,
Yeah.
I mean, there can be some, lawlessness, but it's also, there aren't any rules anymore. You can create the possibilities for yourself in the life for yourself. Listen, if you love Neapolitan pizza and arugula salad, Shelties, and quiet on a Friday night, like you can live that life, Christine. And
Yes,
I'm so
yes.
glad that you are. And I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and having such a fully candid conversation, which is feels like really good to be in those kinds of conversations with or without the fabulous top, though I do love the top, and we will be on
Yay.
YouTube. So if you're checking this out and you're listening, just hop over to YouTube for a few moments to see Christine's lovely blue top. I'm enjoying it. Anyway, any final words for the listener, Christine?
I'm glad you asked, and I do. The final word is don't, and people say this all the time. Don't let anybody dampen your bright light. And I used to hear that all the time. Like, I don't even know what my bright light is. But the truth is, I did know what it was, but I let other people cover it up
Mm-hmm.
because I was always trying to fit in with other people. That was the truth. I'm like, well, maybe I'm going to be too weird or I'm too deep or I don't, I want to talk about serious things and maybe that's not cool or it's not, people don't think it's fun on a Friday night. Well, you know what? It is fun on a Friday night to talk about serious things. It's just finding the right people and it can take some time, but I promise you they're out there. And in fact, you know what? They're at Shareapy. That's where I found a lot of them. And luckily, my wife is always there and interested in having real conversations. But don't let anybody make you feel other than exactly who you are, because every one of us is incredibly different. None of us are the same, and everything about who we are, even if it totally conflicts with how I live my life, they are beautiful because we need everybody to be exactly who they are.
Mm, gorgeous. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, listener. And we'll see you next time on the podcast. Bye for
Thanks,
now.
Kelly.